Well, good morning, Naledi, and also let me greet some of our viewers who have just joined us now. We are still bringing you that coverage of the World Consumer Rights Day here from Rustenburg, and earlier on we were having our discussion with the HOD of the DDED department in the province, Lufuno Chikovi, talking about consumer rights, and let's continue with that discussion there, picking up from where we left off. HOD, when we talk about consumer rights in the province, how are these rights being protected?
Thanks. In terms of the protecting the rights of the consumers, consumer section in the province has established a consumer court which is empowered in terms of resolving disputes between the consumers and then the suppliers. The other things that we do, we work with all the regulators, national and provincially, in terms of making sure that at least we instill compliance to the business or to the service provider, where we conduct inspections in order to make sure that the consumers are buying the goods that are in good conditions. And then also the other things that when there is non-compliant, our enforcement agency, they come in to deal with those challenges that we are facing. At some point, we end up closing some of the shops that are really non-compliant in more areas, and then some of the goods are not really priced, but are sold to the consumers in terms of different prices.
And let's talk about this in practical terms. Paint a picture for us. These inspections at different shops, maybe tuck shops or whatever big businesses, say in a month, how many of those inspections are done?
I think that's where we are really having a challenge in terms of the capacity, because as the province we are dealing with 4 districts. Is the area that we need to really capacitate, because you will find that we are only do twice but not covering all the districts, which is a problem that we are really resolving as we set up a chief directorate that is going to be responsible in terms of the inspections and compliance, and then working with other regulatory bodies in order to make sure. And then in terms of the understanding with also the key stakeholders, they are also intensifying in terms of the capacity, so that at least we have got more numbers in terms of different responsibility, because you will find in terms of the shop, we need Home Affairs, we need SARS, we need NCR, we need all environmental inspectors in the municipality. So the understanding is to say, in terms of practical terms, we must make sure that our presence are felt on the ground, not only when the case has been reported in a certain shop, but we must be visible regularly, which is the things that coming this financial year, in terms of our plan, will be rolling out in all the 4 districts.
I wanted to ask, in terms of there's visibility and shops are being inspected regularly, in your understanding, knowing what the situation is on the ground, at least how many times in a month should the shops be inspected?
In terms of the current situation, the non-compliance is on the ground. If we're having a capacity, we're supposed to do maybe every week in different areas, targeting the certain areas, because you will find that most of those shops, because we've got complexes, they are in one place. So we're supposed to do these things regularly, because sometimes when we don't do it regularly, they know, and then the information lake needs to be held. But the stakeholders, we are so big in such a way that sometimes the information ended up leaking. And then when you go, you will find some of the shops are being closed. And then you wonder why, because they were supposed to be operating in terms of their operating hours. But because of this challenge in terms of also how do we deal with the compliant, that's why we are saying this thing, it needs to be done regularly. That's why we are saying the community must be also the eyes for us in terms of anything that might be happening, because some of the things we tend to be reactive when we're supposed to be on the ground. So with the issue of increasing capacity in terms of all our stakeholders, it will assist us so that at least there will be no day that the shop owner or the business people cannot do something wrong, because we will be on the ground, and then when something doesn't go well, the law enforcement agency, they close the shop, they confiscate the goods that are not in good for sales.
Let's educate the viewers out there, people out there. We see that sometimes they go to local shops, for instance, they buy bread or whatever good it is, and they realize that it has expired, but it's still on the shelves. The best or the most that they do is just to take videos which will maybe go on social media, and that's about it. But now, in terms of reporting these incidents formally, making sure that the shop owner accounts for that, what is it that they're supposed to do, because many don't know where to begin?
In terms of making sure that the consumers are really aware, when you got something wrong, it might be not maybe in the bread, it might maybe you bought a second hand car, and then in terms of the agreement you didn't agree with the buyer. Raise it with the supplier just to indicate your dissatisfaction. And then after that, you can report to our consumer office. We have got also regional office in all the districts. We have got a head office in Mahikeng, but in all the 4 districts that we have got our regional offices. And then also we work with police, we work with SARS, we work with Home Affairs, all regulatory bodies. Just share that information and then let us take the shop number or whatever, at least we are able to know and then locate. Because what we are encouraging that consumers and suppliers, they must be able to work together and then assist each other. So the service providers or the business owners, they must see the consumers as part of them, because they are supporting their business. And then those are the things that we are trying to encourage, to say, if you are able to resolve it, because sometimes when we go, said no, but the customer never alerted me to say the product was not good or the goods was not in good condition. I was going to do something or address it. But those are the things that we are encouraging, to say, consumers, they must know their rights. They have got the rights. They are not forced to take things that they didn't like. Even if they bought it, they can still relay that mediation, and then we resolve it. Just to give an example, I mean, since we have established this consumer court, most cases that we have, they were having with car dealers, where we find that you go there buying, yes, we understand it's a second-hand car, but there are some of the things that you are expecting to say, if the car, it was driving and then it's no longer driving, at least you must be able to be assisted on that issue. We managed to resolve many cases. We managed to recover some money in terms of our consumer court. So those are the things that we are encouraging, to say, the issue of mediation. Know your rights as consumers. You are not forced, and then you must be indicated. Even if for the service providers, explain everything to your client or to the consumers, so that at least they understand what they are buying, and then what will be the implication if these things is not working. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for those insights there. That is the HOD for the DDEC department here in the province, Lufuno Chikovi, explaining processes and steps that consumers can take when they are dissatisfied with the service or product. And with that, studio, we hand back to you.